Welcome to another episode in the series of Impact, and today is a very, very special episode for me. It is an interview with the most wonderful woman in the world. Yes, I said that. Many of you will not know her, but you will know her by the end of this. I am so happy and so pleased and blessed to have my very own mother here on Impact for me to interview and to hear, get an opportunity to hear some of the things that we haven't been able to sit down and talk for a very long while. Impact, it's all about how did life or people influence you when you're a child growing up and what influence you're making now. So I'm so happy to have this opportunity to be with my mom, Gloria Young.
Yes.
Just glad to have you. It is a privilege, very special for me. I didn't get this opportunity to sit and speak with my dad and hear about his childhood and all of that, though I knew some of it. Being the youngest, of course, is some of it I really don't even know, but I always hear from my sisters and brother. But I'm going to get the real deal today, and you're going to come along and join me. So let's start. Gloria.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Let me ask you. How old are you?
I'm 74. I will be 75 on the 27th of August of this year.
Well, 75.
Yes.
And I hear you. I know that they always say you always will take the name Forever Young.
Forever Young.
And people always say how you look young.
Forever.
And that's the same thing. Same thing I say.
Forever Young.
Forever Young.
Right.
Now, tell us, what was it like 75 years or 70 years ago growing up as a child?
Wow. Wow. It takes me back a way back. In growing up as a child, it was very, very difficult for my mom. She was father and mother for us. But one thing I'm happy for her is that she had grown us up into a right path, on the Christian path. And that makes me what I am, bringing up my 4 children on the same path that my mom grew us up. And I am very elated and happy for my children because they had made me very proud.
Now, you talk about your mom, and we'll hear about grandma, your mom, a bit more. But tell us about your primary school days or when you were into school. Where did you go to school?
Well, as a child, my first school was at the Petersfield Primary. I spent at least 6 months there, and then from there I stopped. I was to give a break because I'm the eldest of 4, and it was very hard for my mom that time. And then she took it. I was there with my other sister. Sometimes in school, sometimes out of school. But one thing, she never let us go without learning. We have to know the golden rules and all those things. And it applies to me until now.
What were the golden rules?
Be ye kind one to another. Be brotherly, with brotherly love, sharing and giving, and be kind and compassionate to one another.
Now, is there anything in your primary school days that you will remember that stood out for you when you were going to primary school?
Yes.
Or any teachers?
Oh my goodness. I can remember going to primary school, my first primary school. There was this teacher by the name of Miss Gunnins. Our head teacher was Mr. Dunn. And I remember I did something at school, and Mrs. Gunnins come to me and say, "I'm going to tell your mother." I was like, oh my God. Because I know what I will be getting when I go home. And she come and say, "Don't you worry. I'm going to tell your mom about you. You're very misbehaving in school." Oh my God, it was like I got a flogging already and I don't take it. So when at the end of the school, she come and she pinched me. She draw my ears and pinched me on my nose. "Go and tell your mom." So when I went home, my mom said to me, See a big woman now, so they misbehave at school. I said, no, Mama, never behave at all, misbehave. And she said, okay. Before I could talk and tell her what happened, this strap was over my back. And she saw the teacher, Mrs. Gullins, and she said, Miss Gullins, the only thing me I beg your mom do, save the eye, but put the hand on her. And it was nice. It was nice.
Back in those days,
yes.
Children were
very obedient, disciplined. We get most of the time, we get the flogging before we reach home. Because one number look, and that better sometimes we get the beating. Because that look is not a nice look. And when we went home, oh my God, we have to say our Father before and ask God to help us. Because the flogging is not easy. She always have this strap in her stomach. And she called it Dr. Dogood. So when she take out this strap and she put it on us, oh my goodness, it's not nice.
So back in those days now, you had straps being taken.
Yes.
And you were getting beat. We don't do that anymore.
No.
Do you think it makes a difference? Or would it have made a difference if you weren't strapped then?
Well, in our days, I think that was the best thing for us because it lead us on the right path. Nowadays, these children know they say they are not to be getting flogged.
Things have changed and time, and we stopped doing the flogging and all those things. Now, after primary school, where did you go to next?
After primary school, my mom sent me to Shroom Senior School, where it opened up, and I spent 3 months there. And after that, at the time I was about 15, and she take me out of school and sent me to Kingston to work because I have to help her. And my first job, oh my God, my first job was 10 shillings per month. I have to work 10 shillings.
How much would that work out to about now? I don't know shillings. If you know what shillings, 10 shillings would be like, please put it in the chat because I would really know how much money that was.
And I have to be a babysit, and I have to kneel on the floor and scrub the floor. And although I was young, I still enjoyed it because it gave me some experience. And then I had to help myself. When I got the money, I sent it down to the country to my mom. And then after my mom got it, now she helped with the other children at home because I am the eldest one.
So you were sent away at 15
yes.
to go and work
yes.
to support the family.
Yes.
Where was your dad at that time?
At that time, my dad was in England.
So he was part of the Windrush generation?
Right.
Okay.
And he never supported my mom with us, and she won. Oh my God, my mom. She had to go up and down to get pint bottles and go on the truck 2 times per week and go to the Coronation Market and sell things and, bring us. Sometimes we don't see my mother sometimes for the week. We might also see her on a weekend, like on a Sunday. But on Saturday, she's up and down.
So who would take care of
I am the eldest one, so I had to take care
of the
of the others.
So how long did you go? So you left from the country, you went into the city to work?
Yes.
And how long were you working there for?
I was there when I was 15, and I went up until I was 18 years old when I got my first child.
So you didn't finish secondary school?
No.
You went straight to primary school
yes.
and you started your life really, and at 18 you had your first child?
Yes, I had started my years at a very young, tender age because to God be the glory. I did not get that education that I gave to my children. I did not get it. I see my 4 children went from infant, primary, and high, graduate. I have never ever been there. Never.
I don't think I went to infant school.
No, you don't.
Okay, because they're not your 4 children. They're not 3 of your children went. So I was the one who
didn't go to infant school. You are the only one that did not go. And for the reason why, you were such a pretty little baby boy. And everybody was so fond of you. And you had a cousin by the name of Miss Bobs. She is a teacher at the Jordan Spain Primary School at that time. And she said, Miss Kitty, because that was my pet name. And she said, put on the boy clothes and make me carry him going over there. He said, you know, get to have no school at time. In those days, clothes didn't really matter to us at that time because so poor and everything. I said, put on and put the iPad, put her up, put on, come on. And she would take you every morning from the yard to the school. And you were there every time when she come home, she said, Miss, everybody love Craig. Everybody just love Craig. He's so humble and he don't give no trouble. I'm going to make him stay. So she went and she spoke with the head teacher, Mrs. Forrester. He said, okay, you can stay there. And it was very nice having you there, she said. And it come to the time for you, at those times, it was 3 times you have to do the common entrance. You have first, second, and third. So, for your first chance, you had done it before your age. Because you was at 9, you would be 9 years old. And she said she's going to let you do and try, do your best. Try to see if you could pass, get an experience. So when the time come for you to do that, some of the teachers were upset, some didn't like it because they said, you know, it was partiality and you don't reach the age and you shouldn't go and do no exams. Well, she insists that you should have done it. And you went. Oh my God, it was so hard feeling that day when I heard the news. When she came the evening, she said, Miss Kitty, the boy don't have all of the exam before the time. They have to take him and put him in a Miss class, being given the paper, and Craig done every bit of the work. When they're ready to do the other test, when they look, Craig done it. He said, what? He said, yes, so they take him and put him in there. So you were there until when the exam. So you were a very bright, gifted boy from that time.
Well, it's not so much about me, but I thank for, you know, that reminding me or telling me a bit about me as a child because, you know, I don't remember that. But if my mom says that, that's okay. Yeah. Well, let's go back to you now with your child at 18 and you didn't get a formal education and, you know, have a life to take care of. How did your, I take it you weren't married then?
How?
You weren't married then?
No.
No, so how did your mom take that situation?
Oh, when I had the first child? Yeah. Oh, it was very rough. It was very rough because, you know, being the eldest, things was very rough and sent you out to earn something to help and see your fault on the way, it was not nice. So I had to pay the consequence.
What was the consequence?
The consequence of I was being beaten. I was being, you know, wasn't being loved by that because at the time she sent me out and me go get pregnant. So I have to stay on my own and it was very rough for me.
So where did you stay?
I had to be, oh my God, this is a long story. But cut it short, coming down from Kingston with my first child, I had to, that time she was about 3 weeks old. And coming down, at that time we had the bus that called Mayflower. And coming down, when we reached Santa Cruz, there I saw this young man came in the bus. I was standing, somebody hold a baby for me. And that young man come, what a pretty little baby. And he said, can I have the baby? I said, no, you can't have my baby. I want baby. How me give me one baby? And he was so fond with that little girl. And he said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Jordan's Plain. He said, yeah, I'm coming off too. And he said, oh, so we can talk then. And from there, he just, that time I didn't have an idea who he was, what type of person he was, no idea at all. But he just fall in love. And from there, he becomes, you know, little friend, little boyfriend and girlfriend. Until eventually he became my husband and he became your dad. Wow. And the rest of it.
So that's how you met Dad?
That is how I met
Coming
Dad.
from Kingston with your baby.
Yes, yes.
So from ever since he was always a lover of babies?
Always. He's a lover. He's addicted to children. Oh. He is addicted to children. Very fond of, because when he saw me with this little baby, he said, what, give me the little baby? I said, no. That time he was young, because I was young. He was about 19, 20. very, very young, and I was a very young girl too. So, you know, from there we started our relationship, and he stood by me with her until the passing of his passing.
I know, I know growing up when I went to school and being the youngest, you were always at home.
Yes.
And I remember you didn't start working until when I was in high school.
Right.
So, how was it being a wife, a mother, and supporting the 4 children? We didn't grow up with much,
No.
but how did you do it?
Oh, sometimes I wonder to myself. I was saying to Carol, and Carol said the same thing to me, that's my eldest child. She said, Mommy, sometimes I think I wonder how you manage. And sometimes I think of it, say, boy, how do I manage? How I managed to get over? I'm thinking, how we managed to get over? Having 4 children. My husband at that time, we didn't marry, but we were together. Wasn't working. But you know, my mother she was a hero. And she is a fighter. And she always tell us to turn our hands and make fashion. And that is what helped her to help us. And she put me in that path until now. And she said, you know, you have to do to help yourself. Flour and sugar, you don't want her taste with it. And she's teaching me how to do pudding and baking, every little thing. And there I started. And my husband now, he would go, and at that time I couldn't afford a gas stove. I don't know what a gas stove was like, but he got a drum pan, we call it drum pan, and he cut it out, and he make an oven with it. First time it was Crescington, and then he used it drum pan. And my husband would go and look woods in the bush, and come back and put it there, and then I would do all my bakings in it. And Christmas days, people come, if I can bake a cake for them, and that's how I started. And it was very hard, but it was very interesting, and I learned. And from there, it was there I started with my children, one step, until they all come out good.
I remember those bakings that Grandma usually do.
Yes.
And Grandma was always baking and, you know, grate a cake and rings and all those things, and selling. And then I remember you doing the same.
Yes.
And it was something that was, you learned this from your mother.
Yes.
Now, did you have a relationship with your father at that time?
Yes, my father,
even though he was in England.
Yes, he used to, when we were much younger, he used to send, now and then, he would write to me, which I am the eldest one, and I am the one that he always write to. And sometimes he was put a £10, a 5 and a £15, and send it come to me and say to give it to your mother. And you know, it was there, but my mother didn't depend on that. She is a born hustler. When I say hustler, I mean hustle. And she never have that, which I appreciate my mom for. She had never given us a stepfather. Never. All her days is just working, just let us survive.
Now, you started work at a very late age. How did you find that? Was it easy to adjust to that, knowing that you were all your life doing your own thing? And
yes, well, I really adjusted because I did really I loved housework. I love housework.
So you were working in the hotel industry?
After I come back from Kingston, and times goes by, I got a job at this hotel, and it was my first experience. But going to school, as I told you before, I was going to Froome Senior School. At that time, we had the canteen there. And when it's time for today, like on a Tuesday, it would be canteen days, the teachers would come and choose from that class how much of us to go to the canteen to help in the canteen. I was the first one to raise my hand because I want to go into the kitchen. When it come on to bookwork, no, I was not there. I am not there. No subjects, I was not there. The only subject I did love it was scripture. And then they would take me to the kitchen, and I always, so the teacher would come, Finletta, you go to the kitchen today. I was so happy for that. Finletta, can you go to the kitchen? I was so happy for that, because that was it. And my mother, after that, my mother She sent me to sewing school. I was telling my cousin. And she sent me to sewing school. But I did not like it. I did not like it. All my sisters and brothers, they are dressmakers and they are tailors. I am the only one because I do not like it. Put me in the kitchen. That is where I want it. And that is where I make my start in life and continue to be until I left from the hotel and then I went to a bank and NCB and I worked there for 13 and a half years.
Was it that long?
Yes, for 13 and a half years.
Yes, was that long?
Yes, at NCB, and then I was transferred from South to Negril, and I was there until I get my retirement. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize it was so long.
Yes, 13 and a half years.
Well, I'm talking with my mom about life growing up, and now I'm going to delve into a bit more of some of the things that you struggled with and we went through. So you had your family, and I was the last one to
You're my baby.
to leave the nest, so to speak. Just wondered, how was it after all your children left home?
Oh, it was very heartrending. It wasn't a good feeling to see the first one go, then the second one go, then the last one go. I was saying, what have I done? Why the children they want to leave? But Daddy said to me, "You're not going to look better life, better resign before, so let them go on." I said, "But Daddy, they're too young to go. And I want him to stay." This Daddy said to me, "Well, if they had to go, they had to go, because you sit down a yard that can't help them. Man no have no honor in country, so make them go and go back." I said, "All right," and then I take courage from there, and then it just helped me encourage. And also, when I heard of the improvement that they all had made, it gave me more, feel love to say, okay, then that love is accomplished.
Okay, so during your hardships or the time when you had the four of us and you were struggling, was there anyone that really supported you, helped you, and got you through? I know we struggled with food, for example, and things. Who were the people that helped us?
Wow! If I could get her back on her feet 1,000 times, I would tell her thank you. And that's your grandmother. That's your grandmother, my husband's mom. If I could just get to see her, she was there for me 100 times. She never let none of you hungry. She never let none of you. Better than that, every time she used to work as a matron at the Sagamore Infirmary, and every month that she gets her paid, she makes sure that money comes to us. And when my husband, her son, went down, he said, "Make sure the picking them all right, Nobody take out none of the money, Carry to Gloria." And he would come and he said, "Aunt no said to give you this." And she was a strong tower of strength to me. My mom did, but my mother-in-law, wow.
She was
my rock, and Dada, that's my husband grand-aunt. They were my rock that I could depend on.
Recently I saw a picture of me with Dada, which, I was just, wow. I didn't realize, it was, I think it was the last time I saw her before she passed, and I had that picture, and I'm like, wow, this woman was such a, we could depend on her. She was the angel for us.
Yes.
And I remember Aunt Lun's grandma, that as we spent some time going to school, we would go to her, and holidays time we'll be there, and she was, really a support for me and for my sister, especially the last two of us going there. So those were the people who have impacted. Was there any other things, things happening? I remember, I don't know if you remember this, as a child growing up, when there was election, and it was a 12 hours at home.
The soldiers were coming and to invade it, and I was so scared. And there was a clean piece beside the house, and I took you into the cave piece and hide you in there, and I say, I don't want the police and the toilet then come take you away, and we hide and cringe up, and I can remember hug you up underneath it, because I said I don't want them to come and shoot. And it was very scary, but you know, I don't know how I get brave that day. And we went into that cave. It was the house. Cave place was not far. It was just beside the house. And we went in there and we hid in there. And was very. I said, don't make no noise. Be quiet. Don't make no noise. And they must be inside here.
You know, those days were fun days.
Yes,
you know, we didn't have much.
No.
And we didn't have a
we
lot.
We didn't have a TV. We didn't have fridge. We didn't have gas stove. We didn't have nothing like no luxury.
Yeah,
no luxury.
Those were fun days.
Those were fun days, and it was happy days. Happy days. Happy days.
One thing that stood out for me as a child, I remember that every Christmas, every holiday, when there is anything big happening at the church, it was our home that the crowd was, even though we live in a small house.
My goodness.
Why was that?
Love. When you have love is a thing you don't hide. It shows up itself. And when you have that love and that compassion for people and that, you know, love for people, people will always cling to you. I remember, really, when we go into church, it was at that old church that we used to have. And every Sabbath, everybody wanted to come to my house. I didn't live in that big house. It was just a little cringy shot.
You would call it shot
my
now,
daughter would say that this is a 5-star hotel.
5-star. Yes.
That's what she would have said, right? And everybody, I don't have stove, and it was a wood fire. And those days now we could get chicken back, but it wasn't that like what we get in now. Real chicken. And I would French fry, make my rice and peas, and do my juice, and everybody come. When you look in the yard, everybody wants Sister Young food. Everybody come. And sometimes when they look, just hear my elder daughter now, she's in things on, Mommy, and some of the brethren, they come in down and say, Lord Carol, what never put them? Don't worry, Mommy, they don't worry themselves. Them come and everybody. You carry, your friends come and everybody. When they was to leave, it was like something they don't want to leave. And I don't know what, but they said, happy is your home when the Lord is in it.
That's so true. Now, so we grew up and we left home, and you know it was now time for you and Dad to retire, and you were traveling and getting to London, and you were always, you know, happy, and you had freedom, but you also had grandchildren to look after. But then something happened where life changed, and Dad was no longer the man he was. Oh. He was my hero, and he was such a strong man. But then that went. For me, I felt like, as I was saying to someone, that I lost Dad 5 years before he died. You have been, how long were you together?
We are together 54 years old, yes.
54 years,
yes, 54
you were together.
Years, yeah.
And married for?
And for married for 40 years.
40 years, yeah. Now, I can't imagine, but how did that, and I remember when you usually call and say, you know, Dad is repeating himself, and to be honest, I was thinking, you know, it's just this mommy just miserable.
That is it, because
until I actually saw it for myself, because it was hard for me to understand and believe that.
Just like myself, because you know, after coming here in 2017 was my last trip with him here.
Before,
yeah. And you know, coming up, me and him coming, and you know, there are times when he would ask me sometime one question over and over. Sometimes I say, you know, it was like, every time they ask me the one thing over, what happened? I tell you about it and you're coming back to ask me. At that time, I did not know that something was literally going on within him. And, you know, when I went to Kingston at the embassy and to do our biometric, and this lady said to us that she took sign some papers, and he was there don't want to take the paper, and he put it away one time. He said, no, Daddy, you have to sign the paper here. And he walking away. Said, then something clicked in my head. I said, what happened to Daddy? Come, Daddy, man, come and do this. And he wouldn't do that. So I have to hold his hand, and for him to sign the paper. And when I come down, I was telling Carol, and then Carol tell Cassandra and tell you. So I said, all right, when they come over here, then we see what happened. At that time, I didn't know what was going on. Anyway, that was in December. In January, when we come up, oh, it was a day I can never forget it. On the plane coming, it was the worst part of my life with him. In the sense that he got me so nervous, so tense, worried, depressed, and everything, because I do not know what happened to him. He was just up and down in the plane, trying to go outside, that rain is falling, and he has to go and take up the clothes. What you want me to do? You don't want me to go and take up the clothes them and fold them up for you. They say, yes, but there is no way you can go, Daddy. And he was, was getting very angry. And knowing that him, when we always travel together, he always loved to watch the travel document journey. And I turned it on for him, and he would have nothing to do with it. When the food come, he throw it, packs it away, and then he get me so, I don't know what to do. There was nobody to talk to, nobody to say anything to me. And one of the time, after was there, I was praying and talking to God in my heart and reason, ask God why, what is this happening? Until when he said he get up and said, I said, where are you going? I'm going outside. He said, the car out here, Clive called me, and he's going out there to see what Clive has to say. I said, Clive is not here. And I didn't get up because I was scared. Anytime I'm traveling and I sat in that plane, I don't get up until when I reach. So I was very scared of getting up. And he get up and he went in about a way down. I was there wondering what happened to him. I don't want to get up because I'm scared and nervous and everything. And now he was there about over 25 minutes before I see him come back. Somebody can come back to me and say, this man is like, something wrong with him. And they put him here and he sat down.
So you had that experience, yes. And then we found out that had dementia.
Yes.
And
because when we came, after we landed, everything was, kind of a little bit all right when we came, and he was happy to see you and everything. And when we came, we ate and made laugh and everything. It was time for me to retire to bed, so we went to bed. And when I was there sleeping, Michelle, your wife, came to me and said, Mommy, where is Daddy? I said, Daddy is into the bed. See, Daddy. He said, no, Daddy, not into the bed. We said, where is he? He said, Daddy's downstairs and seemed like something is wrong with Daddy, and Craig is down here crying. I said, what? And I ran downstairs, and Daddy was so, and I saw you crying, and we all started to cry because we don't know what happened. And then, Michelle said probably he might have some problem in some dementia or whatever. And we took him to the doctor, and after assessing, the doctor said he has some memory loss and everything. That is when I realized that things like that was happening.
Yeah. I mean, I know there have been, as a child growing up, I remember we had other people in our family who had the situation. I remember Aunt Narcy.
Yes.
Had that situation. But back then, I didn't know about dementia. Nobody talked about dementia. But then what people said, was mad.
Yes.
And that was what we said. And as children, we found it fun.
Yes.
To see some of the things that they were doing. And it wasn't a nice thing now that I look back, but I want to know what it is like, because as a child I saw, my grandaunt suffer from that, but from a distance. I was just on the seeing her in her crazy times or her times of struggle. But how did you survive, or how did you manage, or what was it like living with someone who had dementia?
Wow, I'm telling you, It has to take God in you, and you have to have God as your compass, as your director, and as your help. Because when I remember going back to Jamaica, have that to deal with, it was not easy. It was not easy. And my prayer every day, God, give me this strength. God, give me this strength to carry it on, and help me not to be discouraged. That was my prayer to the Lord. Just help me, Lord. Just help me. That was my prayer minutely, hourly, and daily.
How did it affect you?
Well, one of the time, it affected it hit me one of the time so hard that I said, no, this is not my husband. My husband who used to love to brush his teeth or 2-3 times per day. Sometimes I have to say to him, you want to don't know the toothpaste and they do use the toothpaste so much. And when he brushes his teeth, he open his teeth and say, oh, my Christian, look at my teeth pretty like you can have pretty teeth like me. And to see my husband, no brushing of teeth, nothing like that. I have to force him to brush his teeth. I had to do it for him. And it took a long while for me. It hit me one of the time. I remember I went down to 110 pounds. And I have this church sister, a good family friend of mine, Sister Angela Thoburn. When I went to the doctor, and she said to me, Young, no bother worry yourself over Young, you know. Young is sick, we know that. You have to be there for Young. And if you passed off and left Young, who ever come look after Young? The children in there over there. Get up, Gloria. Come on, Young. Come strong. Get strong. Get strong, Gloria. Tell yourself. And she was there encouraging me. And you know, when I went home, I looked in the mirror and I see my neck gone. I was so stressed out. And I said, no, son, this is not me. This is not Gloria. This is not me. Do you remember this picture that I take up you had on that blue dress? Mm-hmm. Yes. I take it and I put it before me and I said, look at me. Look how I was looking so beautiful. Look how I was looking so nice. And look at me now. This is not me. You know what? I'm picking up my pieces together. I'm putting back my pieces together. And from there, I get that strength and that courage. And that is what made me be what I am today.
So, usually at times, I know when people suffer from dementia, they would put them in the homes. What was it? It was over 5 years that had this problem before he passed. What was it that kept you going, that you didn't give up or to send him away to a home to be looked after?
No, I would never, ever. And if he was alive until now, I would never, ever think of putting him away. I would devote myself to stay with him. And I remember you guys said to me, Mom, you alone cannot do it. Get someone to help you. I said, no, I won't get anybody to help me. I will do it myself. He's my husband. I know who he is and what he has done for me and my children. So I'm not going to let anybody come here to do anything for him and take no disadvantage of him. I will do, and I put up everything. I devote myself. And I never feel discouraged, I never feel down, I never feel like I was leaving. No. If I went down in town and come back, I left ask Brenda to stay with him. And when I come back, he will sit down there on the veranda or lie down in bed. No trouble. And thanks be to God, he has died. No pressure, no sugar, nothing like that. The only thing he has is the dementia. That is, and he was not on any medication away from what they gave me for his dementia.
So during that time, was there anyone that supported you? Because of course, it was difficult, I know, and I would talk to you very often, and I could see on video calls the struggles just to get him to move, to eat, to go. Who was it that supported you during that time? I know Clive, my brother, was there 100%. He was the closest and all one.
Yes, my son, dear brother. And you have Brenda, God bless her, and my daughter-in-law. Those are the two arm bearer for me. They are my arm bearer until now. When things get rough and Cosma is at work and can't manage to come, And Brenda would come in and she would help me with him, put him in the bath, the bathing, when he used to change his pampers. I alone time it and she come and she helped me. God bless her and my daughter-in-law. They were my arm bearer.
Okay, so so now that he has gone to rest, and you know, sometimes I ask this question, and for me, I don't know. But did it make it easier? How did you feel after? Okay, was it like a burden lifted, or was it like, you know, because you didn't have that struggle to fight with him to get him to do things? But was it like a relief, or was it like, what was it like?
No, you see, I would say it was not that a relief, because thanks be to God, he was not in that no pain. There was no sores. There was nothing. I was there with him. And, you know, it was like, I know he has found a resting place. And I know that he was at peace. Because sometimes when I would be singing with him, he cannot talk, he cannot comprehend to me, but he would just look at me. And, you know, he would just, when I sing a song, or sometimes I will be praying, talk, he sit on the bed and hold his hand. And we would talk and say, this your wife, this, you know, this your wife, this. And he look at me and he smile. And I said, I love you, you know. Someone take care of you. And he just look at me. I know that he understand what I'm saying. But he could not tell me thank you or say anything to me. But deep in his heart, there, no. So it was not that burden. And I pick up my pieces. I miss him. But, you know, if you say, boy, I'm glad me get rid of him. No, I would not say that. Because he was not of that problem to me. No, I wouldn't.
Right, I'm speaking to my mom, Gloria Young, and hearing about life, being a young mother, not having an education from age 15, being sent away to work, and having children growing up, not working until all the children went through education, high school, and then, you know, enjoying life, time, and then losing your husband to dementia. What has life been like since he's passed away? And knowing that, you know, you're on your own and it's like you're starting all over. What has it been like?
Well, what has it been like to me? You know, it's just like, you know, the Lord is keeping me. And all I ask the Lord for is to just let me to be happy. Just let me happy. Help me to live some more years to be enjoying the fruit of my labor. Sir, my husband is not here with me. But I know that my children are here and they're taking good care. So I'm just relaxing, taking it one day at a time, enjoying life, and be at peace with myself and with God.
All right. So we're almost to the end, Mommy. And I'm going to ask you now some questions, and I want you to be honest.
Yes.
Who is your favorite child?
Whoa! That is a mountain for me. I do not have, to be honest, I will be honest with you tonight.
And Carol and Maureen and Clive were listening?
Yes, I am very honest with you. I have no specialty. I love each and every one of you. There is no partiality, nothing special. I have no one special.
Okay.
You are my blood and you are our
all right. Who gave the most trouble?
Wow. The one that gave the most trouble.
And you're being honest now?
Yes, I'm being honest. Cassandra and Cosmo. They are the one that gave the most trouble. Cosmo, he would have, when he misbehaved, and then he know that his father is going to spank him or chastise him or do something. First thing he would do, take up the bicycle or the bike, and away down to his grandmother in Kingswood. And when Daddy got down there to get him back to come back, his mother would have abused. Come out of my yard, left the picnic alone. We don't want to give left him alone. But I'm back on your yard, this long old boy. We come here, come back, then we come back. And that is how I get to spoil by his grandmother, his dad mom.
Okay.
And Cassandra, she was very determined and stubborn. She gave the most trouble and she get the most flogging.
Yes.
One of the time I said to my son, I said to Daddy, the picnic is not going to come love you, because I beat him too much. Yes, make him not love me now. Make him not love me. Make him not love me.
Who get the least beaten?
Oh, my baby has never get a spanking. Never.
Why? He was such a good behavior to me. Why?
I don't know, but you are special in the sense that because you are the last one and you cling to me and you never give no trouble.
Who is the best cook?
The best cook is Craig with Carol. Cassandra, she come and Clive, but Craig and Carol.
Yeah, I think I would give Carol that because
Carol, yes.
she went to cooking school.
Yes,
so I give her that. But
yes.
and
you follow behind him.
Yeah, because I didn't go to cooking school.
Right.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Now, what's your favorite memory of me?
Oh, my favorite memory of you, Craigie boy. My Craigie boy, my fondest memory.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was working at this hotel in Bluefields. You always come, I always take you up there to stay over on the weekend. You was such a beautiful little boy, and everybody would love you. When the guests come in, they would, oh, Miss, your son is so nice. He has got a lovely penmanship, and he's going to be a very brilliant. I can't forget this guest. His name is Peter, and he said to me, take care of him. Let him do his lessons well, because he's going to be a very brilliant guy, and you won't regret it. And then whenever time he comes, he always asks for you. So I remember one day, it was in the Easter holiday, and he said, okay, we're going by the beach. And we went up there. Oh my goodness. And while we were there, there's this boat, and this guy run. They all go into the boat and you're going in. I didn't want you to go in there.
Is this a story of me almost drowning?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
that's why I can't swim.
I didn't want you to go in there. But anyway, as little boys, and then they said, let him go on. And they went out into the sea and then come back. Knowing my little baby boy can't swim, never been to a river, nothing like that.
I actually went to river, but I never go into water.
Into water.
Those boys will not go in and I'll sit to the side, yeah.
And then when they come to the shore, all those boys come up the hill, they jump out of the boat. And then believe that you could have done what they done, but they were swimmers. And you jump, and Daddy was right there. And when we see you jump and go down, and go down into the bottom of the water, I said, why? The sun down now. And that is duck off into the water. And then they go down and
He did save me.
And he saved you. I said, from that, I will never take Nana Plane to beach again. And
maybe that's why I can't swim yet, because I had that experience.
Yeah, I never take them back to beach again, because I said I did not want to lose them.
Now, as you come to an end, Mommy, what has made the most impact on you? Or what is the thing? Is it something you heard? What is the thing that you always live by? Right. Or maybe you have something that you remember your grandparents or somebody tell you that you will always remember, and always try to teach your children in that way.
Okay, they always tell me that, Miss Kitty, you will love how you train your picking them, make them go up people's yard, make them mix up or nothing. They love how your children you grow your children. You're poor but you're humble. You're a very humble lady. And we love you. And your husband, when you come in there, you are twin. They say, yes, we are twin, we born together, but only one born August and one born May. And that stood out in me. And I always have this in my heart, in my little deeds of kindness, little words of love, planted by the Savior, bring God heavens above. And that's it is. Love makes a big difference. When you love in your heart, it will move mountains.
I want you to also ask you, before you go, which one of us is more like you, and which one you think is more like Daddy?
Oh, everybody says, when they see you, they say, what do you look like your mother? Your short look like my mother, like me. No. Cosmo, they say Cosmo look like me. They say, look like cousin, cousin, yeah, big me, yeah, no big so. And you say, you look like it, but you look more like your dad. You have, I was looking on your feet the other day, I said, boy, you and your father and Cassandra have the same foot. The same clunk up to his tone the same way. Clive him have the flat foot because his grandmother always called him flat foot Susie. And he said that flat foot Susie because his foot is flat like his great grand aunt. And then I said, you know, but Cassandra, he has some resemblance of his father, but you more look like your dad.
So who behaves more like you and do things more like you? I know who I think, but you tell me who you think.
Do like me.
Who's like you? And
the one Cassandra, I call her Marga Maggie.
yes.
She is this dead stamp of me.
I
she
agree.
do that.
She
agree. Do that.
And who is more like that? Who will behave more like that and do things like that?
Craig Young.
What? In what way?
In that way that you are just easy going.
Like
just
Sunday morning.
Softly going. Nothing bother you. Nothing worry you. They could give you a mountain tongue. It's nothing to you. All you do just laugh.
Yeah.
Daddy always said, let them go on, them a fool, make them go on.
Yeah, I remember.
Say this.
Yeah, I remember Daddy always, you know, no matter what somebody, he'll right, and he'd say something on his birthday. Is always.
But you remember that time with that bicycle?
Yes.
Or that you used to take all on that bicycle?
I remember that one bicycle will have 6 of us.
Yes.
You, me, my brother, my sisters. And it was, you know, the Mercedes of the family.
The Mercedes-Benz.
Well, one last thing you'd want to say and to give one advice you'd want to give to your grandchildren, all the children listening to you, all the adults listening, what would you say to, you know, to do to make sure we do with our children or to make sure we always do?
One thing I would like to know that you do, everybody do, is to love their children, show love to them, and teach them the right thing. Let them know when they are wrong, let them know. And there is a time and place for everything. So there are times when they may go over a little boundary, but in the sense, with love and with humility, you console them. Not outside that they are to be embarrassed, but take them inside, counsel them and give them. And my grandchildren and great-grandchildren, I said to them, be ye careful, walk on the straight line. Never let anybody tell you to go fast. Just be calm, be gentle, and most of all, put yourself in the hands of the Lord. Trust Him, and He will make the way. Whatever the obstacles may come your way, remember that God never fails. He is always on time to answer our prayer and to see us through the darkest part of the tunnel.
Now, what would you want to be remembered for, or what your legacy to be? What would you want to be remembered for?
Well, if I should leave this world, I would like my children, family, and friends, and all who know me. Mrs. Young was a very nice lady. She was very humble. She was very peaceful. I don't know her in any problem. I haven't. I say that I do not. Your 4 children can testify with me. You never heard me and your daddy have a fuss or a fight. Never ever. And you know, people in my community, they applaud me for the life that me and my husband. They take example of me and say, Miss Young, I wish I could live like you and Mr. Young. We're not 2 people come like a 2 peas in a pod. And that is how I would like my children, of which I see it. It is happening with them. So I want it to continue to be just like that.
Well, we can say yes, that's for true. And I always remember that Dad was always the one making a joke when you're always upset and angry. And when he's angry, he's always the one making the fun. And so both of you were never angry at each other at the same time. It's always fun to watch that.
Yes.
It's a great opportunity. I'm so happy to have this opportunity to sit with your mama and just reminisce and talk about those good and learn a few things. Some things I didn't even remember, that I did all of those things. but I can see where my cooking. I remember getting those cooking skills, being at your side, watching you bake and all of those things. And I continue to do the same with my children, and I'm sure you continue to do the same with the grandchildren and all those we have contact with. And just want to say,
before you go, sorry, I want to make this known that from the depths of my heart, I am so proud. I'm one of the proudest mother on this planet Earth to see my 4 children come out to be something that the Lord has planned for them. I am so proud of you both, all of you. I'm so proud. I'm so proud. There's no words to compare to it. And I wish for you all the best in life, and sky is the limit. Strive for higher heights, strive for higher grounds, and let the Lord be your light and your guide. And I thank you all, my 4 children. I want to say a big thank you. And Mom love you from the top to the bottom, in and out. Mom love you all, dear. No deceptions against none of you. You all are my love.
And you are all loves. Give me a big hug, Mommy.
Yes, I love you. Love you, my son. Love you, my son. Love you. My Janelle, come, my granddaughter. She was here when she was born. I am the first one who held her when she was born. I am Daddy. And I remember Daddy would hold her. She would cry. And Daddy would put her on his chest. And he would have her, my little John, my little John, my little John. And you know, Janelle, Grandma love you. Grandma love you and will always love you. Cassandra, you are
Cassandra's in the background hearing all of this.
So thank you very much, Carol, Clive, Cosmo. Thank you all. Mom love you all. Thank you for making me happy in whatever way you can. Thank you all. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. A special day for me, and I hope you have gotten just an insight of life for me.
Yes.
And the impact that has made me, the impact of my mom and my dad and my family that have made me who I am today.
Yes.
And you can see that parents do play a very important part in the development and the growth of their children. And that's why we do this program, because we want to show that there are many ways we impact our children, and we need to make sure our life is an example for our children. So, until the next episode in the series, I just want to say thank you for tuning in. And please do share your comments, share this program. Tell us what you like, tell us what you enjoyed, how have this impacted you, and we look forward to you joining us on our next program. Until then, is your life living, impacting others? Walk good. Bye.